Good morning, everybody. You have to forgive my hair. I need a haircut still. It's poking out from under the hat now and making little wings. How's everybody doing this morning? So we got Ryan Buttrum's here. Vince is here. Minnesota Maker. And Don is here. John, trolling for dollars. Good morning, guys. And D is here. Hope everybody is doing very well this morning. As far as I know, all of you guys that are here follow me on Twitter, so you've already seen this, but it's still fun to play with. And it got a little bit of love on the JTOG stream yesterday, which was cool. Yeah, I've still got the red section of tread that I haven't printed replacement for, but it's fun to play with this. And there were some doubts on the JTOG stream as to scale, so you guys can see it's big. It's not Ivan Miranda big, but it's big. In fact, I still need to split this piece up into multiple parts so that other people can print it. Because right now you have to have a bed larger than a CR10, than a regular CR10 to print it. It's from this end here, or this end here to this end, which is the length of this part, is like 310, 312, something like that, millimeters long. So right now, unless you have a CR10S4, any cubic Chiron or something of that nature, it won't fit on the bed. It might fit diagonally on a CR10. I just sliced it and printed it on the S4. I didn't have to worry about it. But not everybody has a printer of even that build volume, so I'm gonna have to slice it up and make some smaller pieces. Yeah, it's two Ricky heads wide. Yeah, there you go. You like the brightly colored section of tread, huh? Yeah, it's kind of paying homage to Ivan Miranda, but yeah, what it amounted to was my prototype tread. When I finally succeeded, I had been prototyping it in red, and I had just kind of been roughly eyeballing how much tread I had and had to have, and when I put it together, it was larger than even I realized, and so I'm like, I need more tread. And I wasn't patient enough to print more, so I just grabbed my prototype tread, which is the same as the final tread, and clicked it in there. Morning, Rodney. So today I thought we would talk about one of the Blender add-ons that I use a lot, and it is not a free add-on; it is a paid add-on. It costs 20 bucks. But I use it a lot, and it saves me tons of time, makes my models better, and has another feature that I didn't even know it had until when I was trying to figure out a tensioner solution for the tank. I was trying to figure out a tensioner solution, and I was just browsing around playing around on Blender, and I accidentally opened up a window that HardOps has that I didn't know it had. And there is like components you can bring in and use in your models that allowed me to just literally, I didn't have to model a threaded rod and a nut, because They exist in hard ops. You just bring them into your model and use them. So the threaded rod and nut came from hard ops. Now the nut, it does not have the threads do not match the threads inside or for the already for the threaded rod. So what I had to do was when I brought the nut in, I deleted all the vertices in the middle and capped both ends. Then I stuck the threaded rod through it and used a Boolean operator to hollow out the nut with the same threads from the threaded rod. And then I took the vertices from that and scaled them out a little bit to create clearance to allow the tolerance of the threads so it threads on. But that wasn't too hard to do, and it was certainly a lot less difficult than trying to model it all from scratch. So it saved me a lot of time and a lot of headache being able to just bring those components in. And so I'm going to show you guys some of that stuff today. Because $20, it's worth it. It really is. And I just went to Blender Market, which is where I downloaded it from, was blendermarket.com. And I went there today, and apparently the new version of Hard Ops is compatible with Blender 2.8 as well. So they are keeping on top of it. They're keeping it updated, and I don't have to worry about that yet because 2.8 just doesn't run well on this old computer. Morning, Ben. So I'm still stuck using 2.79 on Blender, but for those who have the machine to run it, go ahead and download 2.8. If you want to go purchase Hard Ops, the link is in the description to do so, and then I will show you some of the features that Hard Ops has that has been an absolute game changer for me. You know, most of the stuff that I've done in Blender and such this far could be done for free. And while you could do the things that are in Hard Ops for free, the time that it would take you to do those things is increased so dramatically that not spending the $20 is actually costing you more money if you value your time at all than spending the $20. You know, it's that old it's that old adage talking about like Bill Gates could drop $100 bill and his time was so valuable that it would cost him more to stop and pick it up than it would to just keep walking. Well, if you value your time, if you have, you know, a value figure you can put on your time, this $20 add-on is going to save you, you know, throughout its lifetime, hundreds if not thousands of hours. And so, especially during the busier season, I put a fairly high value on my time in the busier season because I don't have a lot of free time. And so, if this thing can save me, you know, it probably saves me 2 or 3 hours per model I make, or per part on a model I make even. And so, that adds up over the course of, by the time I get a model like this tank done, it has saved me, you know, 100 hours of modeling, close to it. So I'm going to show you some of those features today. I thought we'd talk about Hard Ops, and I bought mine in a bundle pack with another add-on called Box Cutter because it just wasn't that much more money, and Box Cutter is kind of handy too. Even though I neither one of these, I haven't figured out how to use them to their full potential at all. But let's see here. Let's go to the chat over here. Let's go to the screen share. We're going to go to Blender Market first and just kind of show you guys where I got it. Blender Market, Hard Ops. It now supporting 2.8. And They've got some, you know, cool little example models. And I've seen very little videos out there on using hard ops. So there is a little bit of a learning curve to it because there doesn't seem to be a lot of people teaching you how to do much. I've seen videos that show off what it does, you know, where the guy that knows how to, like one of the developers or something is making something, and he makes something that looks kind of like the thing you see in the picture in a matter of minutes by just quickly running through all of its operators. That they turns a cube into something that looks like that in like 5 minutes. So I'm not that good with it yet. I'm not that fast with it yet. I don't know how to use all the features that he displayed in that process. And nowhere are there have I been able to find good tutorial videos. There is a manual that comes with the download if you want to sit and read for hours, but I haven't done that. But hard ops allows you to make things like this in minutes rather than hours. And once I get to the bottom of it and figure out how to use it all, so anyway, it's cool. It's $20 if you just want hard ops, and it's worth it. So I'm going to delete that real quick. All right. So here you can see the threaded rod and nut that I brought in from hard ops to make my tensioner, which is, it's a simple, you glue the threaded rod into this piece, thread your bolt onto it, you slide this piece here into the large bracket, and then when you unscrew that nut, it will press on that bar and push it back, and that tensions the tread. Morning, Robbie Mac. Yeah, that's one of the limiting factors for me for ZBrush is it is expensive. But as far as I know, there's not another program out there that can do the things that ZBrush does in the time that you can do it in. And that's mainly because of that, the ability to, if you're character modeling, for instance, in ZBrush, is to draw out your basic skeleton in a matter of a couple minutes, and then start modeling from there. But yeah, so hard ops allowed me to bring this threaded rod and this nut in just from its library of stuff, which now that I know how to do that, I'll be using that a lot, I think. So okay, so hard ops adds a hotkey to your keyboard when you add the add-on. The Q key becomes your hotkey for hard ops. So some of the features hard ops has is the CSharpen. It does a shade smooth, auto smooth, and mark sharp edges, all in one click of a button. So you can see how much that changed just by doing that, which that'll come in handy in a lot of stuff. I went back after I got hard ops and figured out how to use all that, and did that to a lot of the parts within some of my models, like the hammerhead and stuff like that, where I wanted some smoother lines, and it removes some of those hard edged facets and smooths them out. And now, yeah, I haven't even begun to understand the mirror function in Hardops, and that's something where you can add something on two sides, the same equidistant from the axis. And then there are tons of operations: merge, relink, clean mesh. Its bevel operations are better than the stock bevel operations within Blender. And like I said, there's so many things that I haven't figured out yet. And so I'll be, you know, needing to sit down and read the manual at some point, because like I said, I can't find good tutorials. But they're symmetry options. Okay, so that's when you do the mirror, you can do symmetry on the X, the Y, or the Z, depending upon which one you choose there. Unwrapping the UV, W, and UVS in 3D view. That's more for someone making like a game model or something. You would unwrap the UV to do texture mapping and stuff. But the thing that became very interesting to me is the insert. When I was scrolling down, I hit insert and I went, what's that? There's a threaded nut right there. So you click on the one collection here, and you can see all of these things can just be brought in to be used in your model. Like, I probably won't keep this, but let's say you wanted to use this thing. Scale it down. G, move it up on the Z. Scale it down. Like, I'll probably make a proper hatch for this at some point, but, you know, that kind of looks like a hatch, right? I don't know what it's supposed to be, but it kind of looks like one. But it'll be handy for detailing out the model later. I can just add little things like this into the mesh that will give some texture and some little, you know, objects and stuff into the bodies of the models. But as you can see, you can bring those objects in and you can use them in your models. And when you tab into edit mode, you can edit the pieces, you know. My dog is dreaming and he's upset about something in his dream. Wake up. Sitting there going, oh, oh, oh. His little feet are twitching. He's having a nightmare. So yeah, I mean, you could see there where you could add something like that. It would make some texture and make some, you know, something cool in your model, and you didn't have to spend the time to model all that. I'm going to remove this one for now because, like I said, I'm not going to probably use it. There's a little guy. Which is kind of cool. That's neat. Okay. That'd be a good modeling place to start if you were trying to make some sort of little character or something. You could pull that in and start with that and modify it. And then there's this group of objects as well. I don't know what the difference between the ones with the orange and the ones with the red, but And as you can see, there's all sorts of stuff in here. That would allow you to quickly and easily add some little details to your model. So something like that, might want to keep. Ben, that's an excellent question. Like to model something like this, and to get it that clean and that ready. I mean, because as you can see, all the edges are nicely beveled, and it's a very nice clean mesh. That would take, just that alone would probably take 20-30 minutes if I was trying to go for exactly that. It would take easily 20-30 minutes. If not longer. I mean, someone who's less comfortable with Blender would take even longer. And you can modify them. You can modify the parts. Actually, okay, that's great, but I don't want it that tall. So I could just select those vertices, pull that down. There. Now it's not as tall. So I mean, they're all editable as well. So you can bring them in and modify them to your needs. Which some of them are multiple pieces, as that one was. Oh, so see, there's a cool little vent thing. So say you were modeling a sci-fi interior wall. You could pull this thing in, something that would take a decent amount of time to model. And you could apply that to the wall and do a Boolean operator and make it part of the wall, and bang, there you go. You've got some instant cool texture that will work in like your sci-fi model. For my tank, I guess I could scale it. Oh, I went the wrong layer. I switched layers. That layer. There we go. G. Just adding little vents and details. If I had a nice big flat spot somewhere on this tank, it would be something, that was boring and flat and plain. I could bring something like this in and it would look like, you know, a vented panel that once you sink it down into the model a little bit, you do a Boolean operator on it and make it part of the model, then it would be 3D printable like that as well. Which I may use in something like exactly like that in let me hide the turret pieces here. Which I may use something exactly like that whenever I do the missile launcher version, because the missile launcher version, the turret will be smaller here at the base and rise up out of the base and have, you know, the missile launcher, and that'll create this large flat boring area back here that will be visible. And it would make it far less boring if it had some detail to it, like some vents or something like that. So there you can see, I was meant to select this piece. Show you one of the, you know, when I was talking earlier about smoothing something out. You see all the facets on that? Now instead of having to do a subsurface modifier and all that to smooth it out, and then have to go in and manually tell a subsurface modifier that these corners have weight so that they would sharpen those corners out. One press of a button, and HardOps did that for me. Did all of that for me. The lines you see that are blue lines, it created a hard edge for. And if you want to make an edge where it doesn't have one, see, I would want that to have a blue edge on it like these others do. When you hit the Q button, it's also an intelligent add-on, because now that I'm in edit mode and I have some vertices selected, you see set S sharp. Now you set it as a sharp, and that the reason I'd want a sharp there, see that one's nice and clean, because these don't have a sharp. You see the artifacting that's going on here, and that's because that edge right there needs to be set as a sharp. And now you can see that artifacting is gone. But again, it's just something that will save loads of time. Loads and loads of time. And that's just using the most basic operations in it. You know, I get to the point where I figured out how to use more of the stuff and start modeling like the guy in the creator did in his demonstration video, which he doesn't talk at all in the video. It's like there's music and he's just modeling a box real fast, and it's crazy and it's cool, but he doesn't explain anything or tell you how to use anything. So it's like, okay, that's great. Now how did you do it? So yeah, you can see each of those spots where there's a peg, that one of the pegs that is meant to countersink into the body, it didn't auto set a sharp on that edge. So I have to go in and manually grab the edge and tell it that edge is sharp. And you can see the spots because they have those weird artifacts visible. But now that I went in and set all those to sharp, no more artifacts, nice and clean. You no longer see the facets that were on that piece. It smoothed them all out. So yeah, hard ops, it's $20. And it may be, as far as from a 3D modeling standpoint, it's definitely the best $20 I've spent. Because I can't tell you how many hours it would have taken me to have modeled a threaded rod and a nut and got them right. And that smooth. In Blender. I mean, I know there's programs out there that make stuff like that easy. Like I believe Tinkercad has stuff you can pull in like that automatically as well. I don't know. I really haven't played with it. But hey, Scalda, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I'm feeling rested because I had a Monday night off for a change, which, granted, it's not going to be it's going to be off for a change for a couple months, but is what it is. So yeah, Hard Ops is, you know, a phenomenal add-on, really. And you know, there's not because the free alternative out there to do the same thing, to do it just in the built-in functions within Blender, would take you loads more time. Well, let's test that. So, go new. Let's delete the box. Let's go into create. Let's go in, let's do a torus, and let's decrease its minor segments to like 8. Its major segments, let's decrease those to like 16. Okay. Now, we can all agree that that's a fairly rough-looking object, right? Let's go a little more than that, because I think it might intelligently try to make those hard edges too. All right, let's go 24. There we go. Let's do that. So now let's shift D to duplicate. Let's move it along just the Y-axis. Reposition ourselves a little bit here. Okay. So here's an example of what I'm talking about. We have a pretty rough looking torus. So let's see, we want to clean this up. We want to make it smoother looking, but we want to leave let's leave this edge and this edge as hard edges on the top and the bottom, but we want to try to smooth everything else out. That's what we were working with. So to do it, this way, you'd have to go into a subdivision surface modifier, smooth it out, tab into edit mode. We said we wanted to make this ring, this ring, this ring, and this ring. We wanted those to be sharp edges. So then you hit Shift E to give them weight. All right. So that's what we had to do to give those, make those two edges sharp on top and bottom, and to smooth it out. I had to apply a subdivision surface modifier, and then I had to select those edges and hit Shift E to create creases. Now, let's see what Hardops does with it. And just press one button, we got to this stage. But Hardops believes that we want this one and this one sharp as well, because it was, you know, I didn't give it very many segments. But we don't, so we're going to take those off as being sharp. Oh, and I don't want this one either. Didn't want that one or that one. Take those off of being sharp. So now we achieved a similar result. It's not quite as smooth as doing it myself, but it went a lot faster. Oh, I didn't clear that sharp. There we go. Okay, it went a lot faster. Got a similar result, but I'm going to show what should be the big tell. You're trying to keep these objects lower. The lower the poly count, the smaller the file size. So we ended up with something similar, but look at the poly count on this one. To achieve that effect. While the poly count on this one remains very small. But we have a similar effect. Like I said, maybe this one's not quite as smooth because there's not, and that's largely the fault of it being such a small amount of surfaces. But you could go in even after that, and if you wanted to smooth it out, you had the subdivision surface modifier. Now, I only went a step of 1 instead of 2, and we got essentially basically the same result with much fewer polygons. Let's use another example. Let's open all right, here was a tire that I modeled at one point, just playing around while I was trying to learn how to do tires. Let's see what Hardops does with it. One click of a button, it smoothed it all out, but kept all the nice raised ridges for the tread. And all I did was hit Q and click CSharpen. That's it. And it smoothed it out. We went from that, Q, CSharpen. To that. So you can see where Hardops was a total game changer, because I mean, this one you see all those facets, and that's something that in our 3D printers it would show up with all those facets. I guess depending upon the resolution of your printer, but I know, you know, that those facets show up. You would see that, and you do that. Now you've got smoother surfaces to work with. Would print out looking much nicer. Morning, True Tech. So yeah, I mean, you know, I didn't set out to do. It's not really a tutorial on Hardops. It's just kind of showing some of the features. But I hope you guys can see. Which that's one of the other operators right there. But it doesn't always play nice, depending upon what you're trying to apply it to. The CSharpen It adds a bevel modifier, shade smooth, enables auto smooths, mark sharp edges, and destructively bakes and ignores modifiers. So as you can see, it didn't play well with this model because of this bit right here. But the rest of the model it did play well with. And that's probably because the spot was too small for the amount of bevel that was on that. Let's try it on another one that I did have success with. Okay. So here's my signature VSV vehicle. Let's apply that and see, because it doesn't have any real small areas that the bevel would mess with. Let's apply the CSharpen to it and see what it does. Real small areas, bevel kind of jacks them up a little bit. But, so here you can see there's before, there's after. Before, after. And that's 2 presses of a button. Let's undo it. Let's try it with the wheels. An S sharp does that. A C sharp does that. Now I'll show you an example where when I'm talking about with the CSharpen does not play nice. CSharpen will not play nice with this. And maybe there's some settings that you can change in it. Again, I need to read the manual to make it play nicer with it. The S sharpen is always a safer change. Morning, Matt Johnson. Interactively and non-destructively adds solidify modifier. Huh. Well, that's cool. I didn't know about that. Okay, well, let's play with that. New, reload start file, tab. So yeah, I mean, I'm learning stuff myself today. All right, so if you're making something that's hollow like this, it has no thickness to it. A 3D printer can't print that. So what you typically do is you go to your modifiers. If you're modeling something like this, and you add a solidify modifier. And then you adjust the thickness of the solidify modifier. Let's go 1. Nope, that's too thick. Let's go 0.05. There we go. So you can see the solidifier modifier, using it, added that thickness to it there. Okay. So let's try the one they had in here. Oh, that's cool. So when you hit it, you're just sliding your mouse to do your solidify modifier. You don't have to type in numbers and stuff. So that could be nice too. That's cool. I've never used this feature. And as you can see, it made a modifier. Sometimes the operators that you use within HardOps does that. HardOps is also, let's go ahead and apply that. HardOps is also where I got, where I do what I use to do my Boolean operators now. So we're going to create a cylinder, rotate it 90 degrees along the Y, no, on the X. There we go. We're going to scale it, make it pass through the box. Okay. So before, to do Boolean operators, I was using a free add-on called Bool Tools. Bool Tools, you would take and select your first object, you select your second object, and then you would go to Tools, and you would go down to Bool Tools, which, like I said, it's free add-on, and you would do a difference, which it did not work right. All right, let's do a union. That union works right. That's weird. An intersect. Okay. Why is it different? There it goes. Difference. You would do a difference, which would cut the whole out. Cut the one object out of the other. Well, after getting HardOps and Bool Tools, or HardOps and Box Cutter installed, I don't have to go over here and find this and go difference and all that anymore. I select the two objects, I hold down the control key, and I hit minus on the keyboard. Bang. But now it hasn't applied the modifier yet, so you can still grab this and you go, hold needs to be a little bigger. It needs to be a little smaller. And hold needs to be over here and bigger. And that will stay interactive like that, where you can move it around and change it. And you can even change the shape of it. And it stays non-destructive until you apply the modifier. Now that I've applied the modifier, changing that does nothing. So then you can actually delete that. But adding HardOps and Box Cutter, and I'm not sure which one added that feature, makes Booleans a lot easier. Oh my gosh, are they easy. You want to create, and let's put a cone here. Let's rotate the cone 90 degrees. Slide it out here. Scale it down. Countersink it into the mesh a little bit. All right, so then we grab that one, we grab the box, Control plus, did a union. That easy. And the same thing applies. I can grab the wireframe looking thing and I can change it, and it will change the Boolean operator non-destructively. till we apply. Once we apply, we can delete the wireframe thingy. And now it's part of the mesh. Yeah, I mean, you could do all sorts of stuff with that. And before, we had to go through either the free add-on Bool Tools, which, as we saw, was a little more cumbersome and didn't work quite as well. And once you clicked the button, it had destructively, as soon as you clicked the button, it had already destructively made your change. So you did this and you went, oh crap, I needed to resize that. Well, now you got to undo it, resize it, do it again. Hard ops allows you to keep that a non-destructive process until you're finished. Until you apply the modifier. Yeah, TrueTech. Check out the YouTube channel Inside the Mind of Matt. He does a lot of the lost PLA metal casting and stuff. So yeah, if you haven't checked him out before, it's Inside the Mind of Matt, and he's a good dude. He's a good dude. He's a good member of the community. Yeah. He's a good member of the community. He's a good dude. And if you're not subbed to him already, check him out. He does a lot of that kind of stuff. Tell him I sent you. So yeah, I mean, so Bool Tools allows you to do a lot of really cool stuff. Or not Bool Tools, Hard Ops. God, Hard Ops allows you to do a lot of really cool stuff. And it's so worth the $20, it's not even funny. I like sometimes testing more complex objects. There you go. But again, see, so I made that little divot right there. But again, it hasn't permanently changed the model until you apply the modifier. Now that I applied the modifier, I can grab the wireframe thing, delete it, get rid of it, because it's part of the model now. So yeah, Hard Ops is a very, very valuable addition to Blender for, in my opinion, a small, very reasonable cost. $20, and added so much functionality to Blender, it's not even funny. And they stay on top of it and keep it updated, and you can re-download it whenever they do. And like the website says, they say it's already ready for Blender 2.8, which, you know, a lot of modifiers are not ready for 2.8. So Hard Ops is. So yeah, you know, to me, $20 was a small price to pay. I would, I've bought things before that I'm like, well, if I had to do that over again, I wouldn't do that. But hard ops is, if I had to do it over again, I'd do it again. Even if they raised the price, I'd do it again. Because it has saved me time. It has saved me more than $20 worth of time already. And I have many, many more things to do before I'm done using it. Gigs are slow, man. They just are. It's that time of year. It's the time of year where it's now it's the time of year where gigs start going away for a while and don't come back till March. My Monday gig is gone until March. My Sunday gig goes away at the end of this month until March. So I will find myself with 4 days off a week. Yeah. So, being a guy who's used to being down on Broadway 5 days a week, and I'm going to be down on Broadway 3 days a week. Oh, it hurts. It hurts. And, there's no use in going out and actively looking for other shifts because everybody's in the same boat I'm in right now. Everybody's in the same boat I'm in right now. If there's work to be had, someone will call me. It's just the time of year it is, Ben. It's the way it goes, man. Every year. Every year. And I know it's coming. It still doesn't make it suck less. Yeah, I was down that road at one point in time too, John. When I was a web developer for a living. They had me on salary. They paid me the same regardless of how many hours I worked. And a client would call about something, a problem with the website or whatever, and that problem can't wait, And so I'd get a call at 2 o'clock in the morning to wake up and fix somebody's website. Or I'd get a call on the weekend and have to do it, or I'd get a call on our family vacation, and when my family's chilling on the beach, I'm back in the hotel hooked up to Wi-Fi on my laptop fixing somebody's website. And I would work 80 and 90 hours a week. It was awful. Right? Yeah, 3D printing helps heat the room. I don't know how cost effectively it heats a room. I don't think it's a cost effective way to heat a room. I think the electric bill is probably better off if you just turn your thermostat up a couple degrees. Yeah, I have more time. I have more time because I also have more time because of I don't have any money to go do anything. I'm kind of stuck here at the house. There's no going shopping except for bare essentials groceries. There's it's not look at this cool thing I'm gonna go buy. I can't do that. This spring I want to buy an airbrush and I'm gonna buy one of those cheap Harbor Freight airbrushes, and it's got the compressor and all that for I think they're like $70-$80, something like that. I'm gonna go to Harbor Freight and buy one of those, and I want to try airbrushing some of the stuff that I've printed. Yeah, man. Some people have a lot of success on Twitch. Jerry Barnacles, his Twitch streams, man, and his Twitch streams are crazy. I love them, but they're nuts. You tune in and he's got a couple hundred people watching and chatting like crazy, and they tip him. They tip him. I've sat and watched some of his morning coffee streams on Twitch where he'll pull in $200 or $300 on one stream, which is insane to me. I'm like, if you could do that, who'd want to be a talk radio host now? Because talk radio hosts don't make $200-300 a show. You know. Good. Yeah, I've only popped in a couple times on Ed doing his streams. I've thought about, other streaming venues and whatnot, but I think what I do is just such a small niche market that I don't think it would appeal to the masses. Um, Now when I get a new computer, I may do some video game streaming because I want to get back when I get a new computer, because this computer won't handle World of Warcraft, and I'm missing World of Warcraft a little bit. When I get a new computer, I might stream getting back into World of Warcraft a little bit, a couple hours a week, nothing major, because I don't have time to dive into it the way that I used to play it. But I mean, I've played World of Warcraft for over 10 years. And I miss it. But the computer I have now won't play it. So when I get a new computer, I will renew my WoW account. Yeah, people are really interested in that kind of stuff, but there seems to be a much smaller market in 3D modeling in Blender for 3D printing. And I don't know if maybe, if I switched focus and learned Fusion, if doing stuff in Fusion 360 would bring more people over to watch, or if it's just, or if it's just I'm boring. It could very well be that, which, it is what it is. I enjoy sharing this stuff with you guys, whether I'm all that entertaining doing it or not. But yeah, I've thought about things, and I I thought about changing all sorts of stuff, because as 2018 drew to a close, I look back on the channel and it didn't have the growth that I had hoped for, and it was a little disappointing. It really was. But I thought about it for a little bit, and I thought, maybe if I change this, maybe if I do this different, maybe if I... And then ultimately I decided, no, I want to just keep doing what I do and try to do it better. Just keep doing the things that I've been doing, try to do it better, and that's the way I think is best for me. But I am going to make some changes, like I'm going to start a second channel that I plan on putting edited videos on, and we'll keep the live streams to this channel, and we'll do edited videos on another channel. The edited videos will be short, concise tutorials, and that's it. And we'll keep doing the live streaming here a couple days a week, and then maybe I'll change the name of this channel to like Tanner 3D Live or something, I don't think you're a moron, Mike. You're a braver man than I when it comes to printer modifications. I haven't even though John and Chris Riley both sent me a multimeter, I still haven't pulled apart the Tornado to fix it, because I'm chicken. I'm afraid of making it worse than it already is. Well, that, and I'm chicken of electricity. I'm a big chicken when it comes to electricity. I will not touch it if I'm the only one in the house, because I am scared to death of electrocuting myself, and nobody's here to do CPR and call an ambulance. Right? Yeah. So um, the tornado. I need to the way that they mount that power supply in there. It is so tight in the back. It's hard to get the multimeter in there, and so I disconnected it from the one piece, but now it's still pretty hard to get anything into. So I think I need to actually thread the wiring back through the little grommet in the back of the control box, and so I have more room to pull it out away from that, so I can get to the back side of it easier. Morning, Walter. So I can get to the back side of it easier, so I can get the multimeter on there, and and adjust everything, because I'm still 99% certain that once I make all those adjustments, it'll be printing. It hasn't been that urgent because the S4 is printing so well. I think it would probably be a more urgent issue if I was in the middle of a larger project than I'm presently in the middle of, to get it going. Because the only thing I can see right now, that it's like, okay, well, yeah, I guess I could be printing body panels for the tank while I'm printing the treads and stuff on the other printers, on the Tornado. But yeah, I don't like electricity. I really don't. I'm that guy that it doesn't matter what I'm repairing under the hood of a car. I disconnect the battery before I do it. I'll disconnect the battery and use a bungee strap to hold the wire away from things. I don't like electricity. It's a phobia I have. That come from getting bit real good when I was like 12. It gave me a lifelong phobia of electricity. Well, that and hearing all the horror stories, because the house I grew up in, my, you know, quote unquote dad was a licensed electrician, and he'd always come home and tell me all the horror stories of things that had went horribly wrong. Yeah, I'm not scared of heights. I'm not scared of public speaking. You know, things that people have common phobias to. That don't bother me. I'm not afraid to make a fool of myself in public. It doesn't. I can be a total idiot in public, and it doesn't bother me at all. I do it on stage, 5 and 6 times a week. I step up on a stage and I talk to people and I make a fool out of myself and sing songs to them. And I couldn't tell you the last time I got butterflies in my stomach about going on stage. I was probably 14, 15 years old. The last time I got nervous about performing. And and even now, it's like the bigger the crowd, the easier it is for me. I can't wait to get out there. The bigger the crowd, I'm excited. Can't wait. Yeah, I'm on stage 4 hours a night, normally 5 and 6 days a week. Well, 8 hours on Fridays. I do 8 hours on stage every Friday. And taking people's requests, and sometimes that means playing songs you've never played before, and sometimes they don't go well. and it doesn't bother me. And some of the guys that I play with, it bothers them whenever we do a request that we don't know and we don't do it perfect. You know, they get all upset and somebody was videoing it and blah, blah. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. We told them before we started we'd never done it. And I've got a couple different sayings to go along with those. If you're paying, we're playing. You know, someone gives us a $20 tip to play something we've never played before. Well, by God, I'll give it a try. And the other one is, if you want to hear a song bad enough, by God, we'll play it bad enough. This guy over here wants to hear a song in the worst way, and that's how we're going to give it to him. You know, it is what it is, but who cares? That stuff doesn't bother me. Oh, I wanted to show you guys. Has anybody printed with this filament yet? It's Amelin 3D. Color change from black to brown to yellow. I think that would be so cool to print one of my military vehicles, like my Jeep or the Scorpion. Scorpion would be real cool that way. Yeah, when March rolls around and the money starts rolling back in again a little bit better, I'm gonna get me some of that. It looks cool. They get some sample print pictures over here. It just looks neat. I like that. And it doesn't take a huge huge temperature difference or temperature amount to cause some color change. So I think it would I think it would be reactive enough that it would be kind of cool. It had me thinking I'd like to cut apart a model. Again, you know, since my stuff is kind of targeted at the G.I. Joe audience. If you guys have ever heard of the Tiger Force G.I. Joe stuff, I thought it would be kind of cool to print a Tiger Force vehicle in... so make a multi-material model and put the tiger stripes in so that they would print in one color, and could even do like the mouth and the eyes so they would be, you know, printed in color, and then print in that filament. Then it would be like a color reactive tiger camo would be cool, you know, heat temperature reactive. Yeah, Tiger Force stuff was cool. Had a lot of fun with it back in the day. But yeah, so hard ops, $20, worth it. It's cool. If you design in Blender, I recommend it highly. But yeah, I so want this filament. I do. It's gonna be cool. I will get some at some point. They also had other color change filaments that weren't as much fun. They were just white to pink, white to blue, and yellow to green. The yellow to green might be okay, but this is cool because it's 3 colors. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't printed anything like TK, not yet, but I'm gonna order me some of this this spring when the money comes back around. Right now, I can't afford to pay attention. But it's January. But January's half over. We're halfway through January. And then February's a short month, and then March it starts ramping back up again. By mid-March, we're rocking and rolling, and will be until late November. So it's, you know, the loss of money part sucks, but sometimes this time of year I look forward to the little bit of a ramp down to kind of recoup a little bit, because life on Broadway is hard. Yeah, I'd never seen one that was 3 color changes before. And somebody on Twitter mentioned, I want to get some of that 3 color lava filament. I'm like, 3 color lava filament. So I googled 3 color lava filament, and that's what I came up with. And I was like, it kind of does look like lava. That's cool. So most of the time at room temperature, it would be that dark brownish black. Because they say black, but that's not black. At its darkest, it's not really black. It's a dark brown. So at room temp, most of the time it would be brown. But it'd be cool to, you know, run a hairdryer past it and then snag some pictures. Well, they updated their stock, because the last time I had refreshed the page, it was 6 in stock. Now there's 14 in stock, so they got more in. Yeah, I'm gonna pick some of that up though, because that looks too much fun. Oh, well, we've covered everything that I wanted to cover today, so now we're just kind of hanging out. Let's see what GearBust has for 3D printers right now. CR10's on sale for $350. John, what's up, man? Just finished covering all the good stuff, and now I'm just chilling. John, dude, have you seen this filament before? I'm curious how it prints, if anybody out there has printed any aniline filament. But it's 3 color changing. From black to brown to yellow. Which actually looks more like brown to orange to yellow. But it looks really cool. I want some. Later, Ben. Like I said, you're not going to miss anything. We're just hanging out now at this point. Let's see. GearBest says the hottest printer they got right now is the JG Aurora A5 for $280. The Ender 3 with its melting XT60 connectors are $200. But I like clicking on new and see what new manners of crazy printers that we'll never see over here because who the heck's going to buy it? What comes up? Like these Easy 3D Mickey Mini Home Intelligent Wi-Fi 3D printer. I don't know anything about it, but I know I wouldn't give them $280 for it. The Moira DF3 Intelligent FDM 3D printer, 150 by 150 by 175 for $320. No, thank you. It's kind of cool looking little Delta because it is enclosed, but yeah, this one intrigues me. The ANET A8 Plus. I was like, does this one come with burning down your house too? I kid, but I've got my A8, which I do use. That's what printed the khaki colored wheels. My A8. Fire department for training purposes. Yeah. I didn't get enough sleep last night. I got bags under my eyes today. I'd give it a go. 300 for $315. 300 by 300 by 350. That's not bad. Oh, let's see if the price goes up when you choose the US plug. Still $315. $18 shipping, so $333. I'd be curious. I'd give it a try. Everything scanning, laser etching, SLA, and others. Really? That's a Delta that does SLA. Yeah, dual Z. But the original A8 was dual Z. $300 by 300 by 350. I mean, that's good size. Something I wish Joseph Prussia would give the world. A 300 by 300 by 350 build volume. I don't know. I'd give it a try. At $315, yeah. If I had $315. The JG Aurora FDM A1. High precision, cost effective. Deep sky blue. What's the print volume on it? $300 by 300 by 300. See, so the new ANET A8 Plus is bigger than that. I would avoid using the word broken, even if it is for your filament. I would avoid using the word broken in your description. It just sends the wrong message. Dual Z axis broken filament detection. Or depends. Where do you want to put the emphasis on? Since broken is on the first line. Dual Z axis broken. Filament detection 3D printer. There's a resin printer for you, TK. $330. Don't know how you pronounce that. 98 by 55 by 125. That's tiny. Yeah, I like going to GearBest and just going to the new printers and see what they got. Well, look at this little printer. Doesn't that look like some sort of futuristic little capsule? That's kind of cool looking. I don't think I'd spend $520 on it, but it's cool. This printer will make happy life prosper and good feeling. That's funny. I've been seeing a lot of these XVico or whatever printers pop up lately. 400 by 400 by 400 for $500. Oh, I don't like that. US plug 2-pin. So are you telling me the only plug you have for it is one that doesn't have a ground on it? I will check that out. I will check that out. Let's see. So ivid or ivi3d.com. ivi3d.com. Auto slicing pinpoint accuracy 3D printer for only $799. No, I do not want notifications from this website. Good Lord, no. What the? It looks like a coffee maker or something. Oh wow, they now don't miss out. Go away. It could be because I'm browsing the web and it's messing with stuff. Intelligence. It has 2 cameras in it. Camera 1, camera 2. Oh, that's because it's got the built-in scanner. So it would need the 2 cameras to scan the object. Okay, I got to go away from that because I can't every 5 seconds be popping something up telling me to watch. Oh, I was going to look at that printer. IVI was at CES. Like I said, it looks like a coffee machine. Yeah, I don't like the fact that it's got the US plug is a 2-pin plug. That means it doesn't have a ground on it. Yeah, I don't think I would trust a 400 by 400 machine printing a full volume print on a plug with no ground. There are so many printers now that they've just literally copied somebody else and put theirs out there. They just assembled some aluminum extrusions in the same shape and put a sheet metal box under it and a touch screen and said, printer. $300 by 300 by 350 3D printer for $5,000. No thanks. Oh look, TK, ANET's gotten into the SLA market. The ANET N4. I'm not necessarily looking for anything. I'm just looking, see if anything exciting has come out lately. I periodically just go to GearBest and see what the new printers are. Oh, if that's not going to be confusing. So, ANET has an A10 Delta printer. Call it the A10. G-Tech has an A10 printer, which is not a Delta and not made by ANET. So now you got ANET A10 and the G-Tech A10. Two printers with the same name. Did anybody see if Techie Dad got that K280, that HE3D K280? Did he ever get that thing printing? I had to go to work before his stream ended, and I didn't go back and watch the end. I've been intrigued by that machine just because of its price versus build volume, but it looks a little suspect in the fact that the extrusions look like they're just 2020s that are going up that high, and it has a build height of 600 and a diameter. It's a Delta of 280. So 280 by 600 build volume. I think it's like $450, somewhere around that neighborhood. I don't know. We can look after this after I finish scrolling down through here, seeing if anything's exciting. 500 by 500 by 650 complete 3D printer for $5 grand. The ANET E16. Didn't they already make a printer that was essentially that with the one that Glenn hates? That was 300 by 300 by 400. Although this one looks like it's dual Z and a little bit better frame. Speaking of huge deltas, have you guys seen the new ones from CMC? The Boss Delta? Those things are insane in size and price. There's a TiVo little monster for yeah, no, not for $954. No. All right, I think I've seen all this. HE3D K280. There you go. $350. 280 by 600 build volume. No. God, I hate when websites do that. But those looks like such small extrusions for a build volume that high. I don't see how there's any way that that's stable. I just don't. And then CMC Boss Delta. There they are. So the Boss Delta starts at a 0.5 meter build height for $4,500. There's a 1 meter build height for $6 grand, and a 2.1 meter build height for $7,500. That's insane. 2.1 meters. That's huge. That would be so awesome. Right? That would be so cool. That really would. I don't know where in the world you would put a printer that size. I mean, yeah, as you can see, it's standing on the floor, and what is the total machine height? Does it say anywhere? The build volume is 2.1 meters, so the build overall machine dimensions 118 inches tall. That's 2 inches shy of 10 feet tall. Put it in my living room where the Christmas tree goes. That it'd be my only option because I think 8-foot ceilings in here, I believe. Yeah, 8-foot ceilings in here. A 10-foot tall printer. All my rooms but my living room have an 8-foot high ceiling. It wouldn't even fit in my house except for in the living room. Which, if I paid $7,000 for it, I guess I'd want it sitting somewhere where I could show it to the world. Like walk into my living room and here's my living room would be the only room in the house that would fit. That's crazy, but very cool. If I were a like wealthy man, well, if I were a wealthy man, I'd have a house big enough for it for starters. But yeah, I'd drop $7,500 on that if I was a, high roller. That is cool. Very, very smart of them to make the design very, very modular, because it looks like you put the top and bottom cap on whatever length of extrusions. Otherwise, the printer seems to be unchanged. So it would just be the length of the wires and the length of the extrusions. Because there's the picture of the 1/2 meter high one that's $4,500. But I don't think anything changes between that and the 2.1 meter other than the length of the extrusions and obviously the length of the wires and rails needed for the effector to slide up and down on. So, I mean, I imagine you could get one of these and you could just extend the cables whatever length you needed to, and rails whatever length of rails you could get, and whatever length of extrusions you could get, and that would be your only limitation. Chris Riley is going to do a print shed. He's going to put his hang printer in a shed, and he's been talking about doing that for a while, and putting cameras in there and live streaming it. But yeah, I mean, I guess if you could find like 4-meter long rails and extrusions, you could increase this thing to 4 meters high. Ships 4 weeks from your date of order. I wonder if they crate that thing up like they do the Artemis. You get this 10-foot long crate. Oh, this thing is... There's a Bowden tube. It's got to be just regular filament. That's pretty darn cool, though. You gotta hand it to them. You gotta hand it to See Me CNC. They may be pricey, but they're offering stuff that nobody else is. Although, talk about huge and ungodly expensive 3D printers. Here you go. Anybody want to park a 3D printer in their garage instead of a car? Because it'll cost more than your car and take up your whole garage. It looks like a car lift. What is a 3D printer? Yeah, the Big Rip. What is it? The Big Rip Studio. That's the one that's. Yeah, up to 60 feet. Isn't that crazy? You have a 40 by 80 garage. So yeah, there you go, man. There you go, True Tech. It probably only cost you about 60 grand, so about the price of a brand new pickup truck. So you go have a brand new fully loaded like GMC Denali, or you could have a 3D printer, and both of them would take up the entirety, almost the entirety of your garage. Yeah, hey Big Rip, can I test one? No, I don't think. Again, that's another printer that I couldn't imagine having a place to put it. That's the same thing with Glenn's FK1. I you know I could build an FK1, but if I built an FK1, I'd have to get rid of all but one of the rest of my printers because it would take up the space of the others entirely. Although I measured, I believe I could put another shelf over here and would have room for a Folger Tech FT6 if they turn out to be good. But I think the next printer that'll end up coming into this house, unless I get one like stupid cheap on Craigslist or something like I did the A8 that I got for $70, unless I get something stupid cheap like that, I think the next printer that'll come into this house will be a Prusa. Because I think I want a Prusa and I think I want a MMU2. So I can really ramp up production of multi-material designs. Because I mean, I figured out how to make multi-material stuff, as you guys seen in weeks past with one of my videos. I've figured out how to make the stuff, and Roy Holly has been great about printing it, but I want to be able to test the stuff myself when I make it. It makes it a lot easier for me to find problems when I can watch it printing. So, that is the next thing I want, printer-wise, is a Prusa Mark III and a multi-material unit. MMU2.